for their work in achieving this thus far. Thank you very much.
Thank
you very much, Mr. I'd like to focus my comments in the brief time that I have purely on our relations with Albania, a country which I visited earlier this year with my honourable friend, the member for Cleethorpes, the chairman of the All-Party Group for Albania, and I paid tribute to him for the professionalism in the way he conducted that trip and in the way that he manages the All-Party Group. There is no doubt that there is growing controversy over illegal crossings in the English Channel. But how we treat the existing Albanian diaspora here in the United Kingdom is very, very important and a key indicator of how we develop our relations with Tirana. I'm the sole Conservative Member of Parliament who was born in Eastern Europe. I was born in Poland. And so our relations with Central and Eastern Europe, the Balkans, are of particular interest to me. And I remember coming to this country for the first time, escaping communism with my family in October 1978 as a 6-year-old child. I remember the tremendous warmth, kindness, hospitality that we were shown when we came to this country for the first time. And that is what characterizes British people and this country. That is what we are known for around the world. The way in which we treat people of different faiths, religions, backgrounds, and other factors. And when Poland joined the European Union in 2004, there was a huge movement of people from that country to the United Kingdom. And I remember at the time the BBC and others whipping up hysteria about the huge numbers of Poles coming to this country. So much so that as I went around the United Kingdom meeting with Polish diaspora, I saw and heard evidence of racist attacks, abuse, and intimidation to those hard-working Poles who had come to this country to contribute because of that narrative that had been created by the media, by the BBC, by the newspapers. And I felt so passionately at that time that I went on Newsnight and Radio 4 and I challenged the media about their conduct and challenged them why they were focusing so much about one specific nation or the people from one specific nation. Of course we want to control migration. Of course we want to control our borders. Of course we want to ensure that migration works in the interests of the United Kingdom. But if history has taught us one thing, the focusing on one particular type of people or nationality is a very dangerous thing for any society. And to blame that one particular group of people for the ills and difficulties that the nation is going through is the thin end of the wedge, and something that history has taught us repeatedly is extremely difficult. And now, Ms. Noakes, I believe that Albanians in the United Kingdom are facing the same pressure that the Poles went through in the early 2000s. Actually, perhaps even more so. I have come across cases in my constituency of Shrewsbury where young children of Albanian origin are being bullied at school and coming across racist abuse. I met with Albanian citizens on Westminster Bridge last week when they were peacefully demonstrating, holding up their Albanian flags, saying, I'm a carpenter, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, I'm a school teacher, we're here, we're contributing to the United Kingdom, we love this country, and yet the media portrays us all as criminals and part of some nefarious type of nationality that is here purely to take advantage of the British and to be criminals. I was very, very moved and touched by what I heard on Westminster Bridge by those hard-working people. And the demonstration, Ms. Noakes, that I saw last week on Westminster Bridge is very, very different to the characterization of the event that I then read in the Mail on Sunday, which tried to portray these demonstrators as a marauding mob hell-bent on creating violence. That is not what I saw on Westminster Bridge. And people like Mr. Farage, who tried to whip up this sort of anti-Albanian hysteria through the pages of the Mail on Sunday, should be very, very careful at what they are doing. The other thing I wanted to raise was an interview that my honourable friend, the member for North Thanet, had with Jeremy Kyle on the radio. And Jeremy Kyle, I think for me, epitomizes. He's the personification of that vilification, that baying to the mob type mentality of trying to create division and tension in order to sell his agenda and in order to try to vilify this diaspora. And I'm very proud of my honourable friend, the member for North Thanet, when he described Jeremy Kyle's comments as emotive, corrosive, offensive drivel. I agree with him entirely. And to characterize a whole nation in that way is wrong. We all want to destroy the business model of criminal gangs. But we mustn't pick on the Albanians. I urge the Home Secretary to focus on the task ahead of her and to be careful with the language she uses. Certainly, some of the Albanian residents that I met on Westminster Bridge expressed concern to me about the characterization of them by certain politicians in this House. Recognise and celebrate the contribution of Albanians in Albania. And finally, Ms. Noakes, my constituent, Arlinda Belchai, who has joined Shrewsbury Conservatives and does a tremendous amount of work to help me with my local party in Shrewsbury. The first Albanian, the first citizen of Albanian origin to stand for Shrewsbury Conservatives to be a council candidate in Shrewsbury. And I'm very, very proud of her. Unfortunately, she lost the seat, but the vilification that she came under, the racist abuse that she received, and the conduct of some of the other candidates towards her is something which, when I sat down with her, I think we both cried, and it was a very emotional experience. I don't want any candidate to go through that sort of abuse, and I very much hope that all of us in this House, bearing in mind this key message I've come here to say today, Ms. Noakes, yes, let's tackle the criminal gangs, but let's be very, very careful how we treat the Albanian diaspora who are here and in the main, hard-working, decent people who make a tremendous contribution to the United Kingdom.
Martin Vickers, can I ask that the final two speeches are kept to 5 minutes, please?